At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
Here's the thing about your movie, why I made the curators pick of the Hollywood Fringe community. Observations TFR 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.
What's going on, people? What's going on, people? Welcome to another great episode of TFR Podcast Live. What is it? It's Observations TFR. Observations TFR. Welcome to another great episode. Episode 95, Truth Thursdays. It's another Truth Thursdays. It could be here to stay. It could be here to stay. What are we talking about? It could be here to stay. Let's get to it. First of all, we want to shout out to everyone that is watching us on Vimeo, on FB, and on the Film Review Life channel on YouTube. Also, hashtag You Found the Spot channel on YouTube. Everyone who is listening to us on at 213-943-3358. The phone lines are open, so make sure that you come through. And everyone who binge listens to us on TuneIn, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and what's the last one? Stitcher. That's right. We want to say what's up to everyone who's do that. So let's get started. You know how we do. Truth Thursdays. It could be here to stay. Observations episode 95. Hashtag You Found the Spot. Topic: what will you be prepared to do if this situation is here to stay, like the flu, HIV, measles, and the common cold? What if we're looking at the beginnings of even freedom, D-U-M-B, being taken away? The phone lines are open, 213-943-3358. On today's show, we take a look at some uncomfortable truths as we move forward into the future with this no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no papers, no service society we are allowing to happen. Like sheeple, we're going along. But what in history is this similar to? The papers Africans needed in South Africa to move from one destination to the other during apartheid? Or more similar to the restrictions Jewish people were subject to as displacements and exterminations began in Nazi Germany? Let's discuss. Again, the phone lines are open, 213-943-3358. 213-943-3358. I see that Adrian Bennett is watching. What's going on to you? Thanks for tuning in, and everyone else that we can see that is watching, but we don't see your name coming up. Thank you for watching. We are glad to bring you this programming Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Let's get started. You know, we don't wait anymore. Let's get started. Listen, there is a nurse practitioner that is, ever since the virus started last March, it will be coming up on 1 year. Ever since the virus started, she has been pumping out information that cannot be denied by the powers that be. And her name is Tamika Morrow, right? And she is a nurse practitioner. So let's listen to her, and then we're going to come back and discuss the topic. It could be here to stay. And what are you willing to do as we get into this no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no papers, no service society that they're getting ready to push on us? Let's see what she has to say.
Hello, everybody. This is your favorite nurse practitioner, Tamika Morrow. I'm coming back to you again. Got some information I need to share that they are not sharing with you. First of all, I wanted to talk about my last Facebook video that was taken down and that was labeled as false. And what they said was the Associated Press reached out to me, and they said it was false because I made the claims about the possible cause of autoimmunity. However, the expert that they used was a doctor by the name of Dr. Drew Weissman, and he's also known to be an expert in, or a pioneer, should I say, with messenger RNA vaccines. So the interesting thing was, one of the articles that I read was actually authored by Dr. Drew Weissman.
Okay, let me pause this for a minute and say, smash the share button, smash the like button, smash the share button, smash the like button, tag 5 of your friends in this, where you're at, because this information that she's bringing is very, 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 very important. What's going on, Stu? Buenos Diaz. Listen. Push the share button. Tag 5 of your friends in this, because the information she's getting ready to bring, she has the data to back it up. It's not her just talking what she thinks. She is a nurse practitioner. She has been putting herself on the line, putting her well-being and her livelihood on the line, balking the system that we are in. No shoes, no shirt, no mask, no papers, no service society that they're getting ready to push on to us. So let's continue. You know how we do. Smash the like button, smash the share button, because we are bringing information, disseminating information on Truth Thursdays.
And that was one of the chief concerns that he himself as well said that he had in regards to the mRNA vaccines. And so I sent that back to them, and they came back and said they spoke with Dr. Weissman, and they realized that he said that they used a new type of strain of the messenger RNA and that there was no data to support autoimmune disease. So what I want to come to today is let you know that there is data to support that these messenger RNA vaccines do cause autoimmune disease. There is data. So I want to read that data to you, because this data is not being released to the general public. And at the end of the day, although I am anti this messenger RNA vaccine, at the end of the day, I want people to be able to make informed decisions, be able to weigh all the information that's possible out there for you to know. So if you choose to take the vaccine, at least you knew what risk you were getting into if you chose to do it.
And that is right. At least you knew. Your eyes weren't wide shut. They were wide open when you chose to take the vaccine. And that's what we've been doing since last March on TFR franchise shows like hashtag TFR Podcast Live. We were on this dissemination of information episodes. Get your paper and pencil out. Get your pencil and paper, your pens, get them out, get your paper out, take down this information. Take down episode 104 through 103 through 108 of hashtag TFR Podcast Live. We laid this out. You have to watch episode 110. Viewer discretion is advised. We lay out why black people, American blacks, think the way that they do through the programming that happened so many centuries before. We lay that out in episode 110, but viewer discretion is advised on that. And listen very carefully. Smash the share button, smash the like button as we continue on with this.
So I wanted to cite a few different things. And still to this day, we still have, greater than 99% of people recovering from coronavirus. But this right here is one of the articles. This right here is actually published in the Nature Journal. It's called it's talk about messenger RNA vaccines. And right here, I just want to read this. It was published back in April 2008 when Dr. Wiseman himself, when asked about the safety of messenger RNA vaccines, he said that a possible concern could be that some messenger RNA-based vaccine platforms induce potent type 1 interferon responses, which have been associated not only with inflammation, but also potentially with autoimmunity. Then he went on to say that another study showed that extracellular RNA promoted blood coagulation and pathological thrombus formation. So a pathological thrombus formation is basically blood clots. They're talking about blood clots.
Blood clots inside of you, but where in particular inside of you?
Being formed. So that's what he said back in 2018 in regards to messenger RNA vaccines. So now let's look at the information that's not being told to you. This right here, I don't know if this stuff is still available online, but this right here was the report that was submitted to the FDA. This one was by Moderna. It's the FDA briefing document that was submitted December 17th, 2020. And what they did, they had to talk about all the reactions and the adverse events that took place when people, this was part of the clinical trial that they were doing before they, of course, got the authorization to use it. But just from those clinical trials, right now, the only thing they're trying to tell people is that it's causing pain at the site of the injection, or it's causing, flu-like symptoms after the second dose, and saying it's a safe vaccine, where that's not the truth. So looking at their document that they had to submit to the FDA to get the emergency use authorization, this was some serious adverse events that took place with the Moderna vaccine. It says as of December 3rd, 2020, 13 deaths were reported. 6 of those deaths were people who received the vaccine. 2 deaths in the vaccine groups were in participants greater than 75 years of age with pre-existing cardiac disease. 1 participant died of cardiopulmonary arrest 21 days after dose 1, and another participant died of a heart attack 45 days after dose 2.
Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound like Hank Aaron? Hank Aaron checked out 16 days after taking the virus. So, but doesn't that sound, taking the experimental agent. So doesn't that sound familiar? Let's continue.
Another 2 vaccine recipients were found dead at home. The cause of these deaths is uncertain. They had another 70-year-old participant with cardiac disease found dead 57 days after dose 2. And then another patient was 72-year-old who received the vaccine, who ended up going into multi-system organ failure and eventually died. And then they had another vaccine recipient that died of suicide 21 days after dose 1. So people who had received this vaccine during the trials, and by the way, you're still in the clinical trial. So if you decide to get the vaccine, you're still part of a clinical trial.
You see, we just finished telling you that earlier in the week, last week. We just finished telling you that they did not get the 3rd level of advocacy. And see, she's talking like a clinical professional. I'm talking, and we talk like everyday people. And everyday people, you are the guinea pigs. You are in the middle of level 3. You are in the middle of level 3. And you are the guinea pigs to see if it will work. We just finished telling you this. So let's continue on. Smash the share button, smash the like button. Let your people know that we are on and that we are disseminating this information that they need to hear to be more educated and more up on the decision they will make when they are taking the experimental agent. Let's go.
But people were dying from the vaccine. Then there were other people who received the vaccine that were having heart attacks. You had people here, someone developed rheumatoid arthritis. And guess what? Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease.
Rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, you're not going to die, but you're going to just be all messed up. hands mangling, knees, ankles, back, shoulders. Let's continue on.
So the fact of them saying there's no data that these mRNA vaccines can cause autoimmunity is a lie. Because here we go right here. Here was a patient that was documented that did develop rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease. I'm going to show you this here, because right here. So you got both the investigator and Moderna themselves had to admit that it was because of the vaccine. You also had someone develop B-cell lymphocytic lymphoma. What is that? That's cancer. So someone developed cancer. They noticed this particular person who developed cancer had a history of cancer, but they're not telling people who got a history of cancer not to take the vaccine, though, right?
Now, what did we say just last week? We said that if you have a compromised immune system, that they have come up with other alternatives other than the vaccine. But I thought the vaccine was for people who had compromised immune systems. 213-943-3358. 213-943-3358. But I said that last week. I said I thought that there was, but it's not. They got other studies out because science is never proven. It's always constantly going because everybody's makeup is different. If anybody tells you that Caucasians and black people are the same, they are lying to you. They don't know just biology. Let's continue.
Right? But if you think about it, going back to Dr. Drew Weissman and some of his safety concerns that he said he had about the vaccine was the inflammatory response. Inflammation is behind majority all chronic sickness and disease out here, including cancer. So
now, inflammation is behind all chronic illness, including cancer. What have we been telling you? Take things like Irish moss, which they can't see because it's in green, or magnesium, or turmeric, which is in green. Oh, they can see it. Or turmeric, right? To minerals that reduce inflammation. In episode 108 of hashtag TFR Podcast Live, zinc also, absolutely. Vitamin D. Pharaoh said that, laid that out to you about what you need to do. Vitamin D3. She's going to lay out about vitamin D. What's up to TC? Top of the day to you also, my brother. Look, we've been laying this out to you, ever since for almost a year. It's going to be coming up on a year. Here we go.
So this inflammatory response led to someone who received the vaccine getting cancer. You also had someone develop what they call a pulmonary embolism. So that's that thrombotic formation, that pathological thrombotic formation that Dr. Weissman referenced when asked about the safety concerns with messenger RNA vaccines. So people did develop pulmonary embolism. What is that? That's a blood clot in the lungs that can be lethal. People also develop heart attacks. So this is, like I said, it's information that's not being shared with the general public. And then we go look at Pfizer. So Pfizer had to present the same type of report to the FDA in order to get emergency use authorization. This one was dated December 10th of 2020. What Pfizer noted, there were people from the Pfizer study that also died when they got the vaccine from the Pfizer vaccine. But then there were also some people here that developed, they call it musculoskeletal and connective tissue disorders. Now, Pfizer didn't go and break it down and say exactly what the diagnosis is, but this was over 1,000 people who developed that.
Okay, just using context clues. Connective muscle and bone disorder. That means that things are not connecting anymore. It's like you're going limp.
You also had over 1,000 people who developed nervous system disorders. So we're talking about the nervous system, the neurological system. You're talking about everything from the brain to the spinal cord to the nerves. You had another over 500 people develop gastrointestinal disorders. And this is all from the Pfizer vaccine. These things are not being told to people, and it's really sad.
It's not being told to the people, but yet they are putting in punitive, which we're going to get to. Smash the share button, smash the like button, tag 5 of your friends, 10 of your friends, 15, 20 of your friends, because we are disseminating information. Grab the link, post it on your pages, on your various pages. Let people know that we are there. Put them on the message board to listen to Observations TFR episode 95. All right. Truth Thursdays. It could be here to stay. Let's continue on.
But from the Pfizer vaccine, they listed a total of 6 deaths, 2 being from the vaccine. And this was as of December. So I'm sure more have come since then. But the 2 that died from the Pfizer back in that part of the clinical trial that was reported, both vaccine recipients were greater than 55 years of age. One experienced cardiac arrest 62 days after the second vaccination and died 3 days later. And then the other one died from arteriosclerosis 3 days after getting the first vaccine. There are also people in their study that develop appendicitis, which if not treated, that can also be lethal. Other people develop heart attacks, and you even had people that develop strokes after getting the vaccine. Once again, this is information.
Okay, strokes. Now, wait a minute now. You know, Bell's palsy is one thing, but a stroke? A stroke, I mean, you need therapy for Bell's palsy, but you really need therapy for strokes. You know what stroke survivors look like when you see them? You look and you say, thank you, God. There go I, that I didn't have something like this happen to me. And these are things that are happening because we are in phase 3 advocacy. They did the emergency use declarations and they put it out there after just the second level. And they are pushing they are pushing these various vaccines. So let's continue. Press the share button, like button, smash all those. What's going on to Chris Fernandez? I see you're watching. TC Congress says, never gonna be anyone's guinea pig. Shaking my head. Every disease that comes out has a patent, as you all may know. The medicine game, the medicine money game. That is about right. Let's continue.
Information that they're not putting out there and they're not publicizing. So if the argument comes and say, well, hey, you know, you got Johnson & Johnson, you got AstraZeneca, they're coming out with a vaccine that's not necessarily a messenger RNA vaccine. The problem with that vaccine is we go back to some old studies. These studies are really, really old. And this is because, like I said, coronavirus isn't new. So they were, back when coronavirus, the SARS-CoV-1 was out, they were trying to
SARS-CoV-1. They found out that came from some kind of Malaysian cat that the Chinese were eating. Right? See, she's doing the scientific and I'm filling in the blanks on what it is. But because coronavirus exists in the animal. So if you're eating meat, you are more susceptible because the molecule will connect to the dead molecule that you have inside your body. Let's continue. You can research that for yourself. Smash the share button, smash the like button. Let people know that we are on. This is very important. We are just scratching the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to talk about on this show today. Let's continue on.
Come up with vaccines at that particular time. And at that time, they didn't bypass the animal trials and go straight to humans. They actually started with the animal trials. And with the animal trials, they noticed a lot. Not only was there immunopathology taking place, in one particular trial here, This was when they were doing the animal trials here. And this particular journal is titled Immunization with SARS Coronavirus Vaccines Leads to Pulmonary Immunopathology. So basically, when the animals were given the vaccine, and then when they were exposed to the SARS coronavirus, it caused severe lung disease, very, very severe lung disease and lesions in their lungs. So to the point that they said that they cautioned them in proceeding to have a vaccine in humans.
They cautioned them to never make a vaccine for humans using that type of technology because of what was happening to the animals with the lesions getting on their lungs. Now, I don't know if you've ever had a bad cold before where you can't really breathe. And I mean, this is what she's talking about. This is what she is talking about, but these are legions, right? TC says, great information and great show. Thank you, TC. Let's continue on.
Was cautioned because of how the mice responded in this study. That was one study. They had another study where they used some ferrets. And what they noticed in that particular study, that once the ferrets got exposed to the coronavirus in the wild, guess what? A lot of them died. It became lethal. And then there was another study that they were looking at, and they noticed the animals that participated in that trial developed liver failure. So this is real. And from those, they concluded that it may not be safe doing any type of vaccine in humans for coronavirus. And those types of vaccine, they use like some of the standard type of vaccines, right? Like the weakened virus, the actual virus, the coronavirus, just a weakened virus, something that we usually see in traditional vaccines that we see out here. So at this moment, the conclusion is none of these vaccines are safe. I don't recommend anybody take these vaccines. There is too much other stuff out here that's available that can help you live, that can give you some type of protection against the virus, and that can also not put you at risk for these complications, because even if they come back and say, well, majority of the people who got the vaccine in the trials didn't experience those signs and symptoms. It's true. I mean, at least from what they reported. However, if we look at this pandemic right now, I look at the state of Michigan. Gretchen Whitmer said herself, because we had north of 30 cases per million, mind you.
30 cases per million. 30 cases. Listen now.
30 cases per million. She thought that was reason to lock down the state. She thought that was reason to keep businesses closed. She thought that was reason to keep kids out of school. So if 30 cases per million is enough to take these drastic measures, and that wasn't even deaths, that was just cases, okay, of which we know majority of the cases are mild. So that was just cases. So if 30 cases per million was significant enough to shut down a whole economy and cause all the other detriment that occurs with shutting down the economy and keeping our kids out of school, then surely people who are suffering death from these vaccines, people who are suffering heart attacks and strokes, people who are developing autoimmune disorders and cancers, surely that has to be significant enough where the caution should be out here for people to know that this vaccine is not safe and other drastic measures should be taken. I just want you to, at the end of the day, be empowered. The Bible said, because of a lack of knowledge, people perish. But I'm bringing you the truth of what's really going on behind this coronavirus, behind this vaccine. At the end of the day, majority people are recovering from coronavirus. There are other things you can do to boost your immune system, to give you some protection. There's even drugs out here now that is shown to be very, very effective in not only treating coronavirus, but also preventing coronavirus.
Hydrochloroquine. We talked about that last week and how some of the talking heads have blood on their hands. They have deaths on their soul. Did you hear that CNN is about to be sold, that they're about to be sold because their ratings dipped after having such high ratings because it was all about Trump, right? But now the ratings have dipped and they're thinking about getting away. Time Warner Media, let me have it right, let me give you the right thing. Warner Media is thinking about selling CNN off and not having it on cable anymore because they are going more towards the VOD. They've since coronavirus, they want to get into the Disney Plus. They want to get into the HBO Max, and they want to get it. So they may be selling them off, and you may say, bye-bye. Everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Goodbye, CNN, and all you people who got blood on your hands and death on your soul because you wanted to go against Trump, and it should have been about the people. Hydrochloroquine has been proven to, if the person has it, it can combat early stage virus. Let's continue.
So you don't have to fall prey to this. It doesn't have to be a death sentence. And the whole thing about African Americans being disproportionately affected, if you really look at the numbers, that's not true. African Americans make up, about 13% of the United States population. But in regards to the coronavirus deaths, they make up about 16% of the deaths, right? But Caucasians make up about 60% of the U.S. population, and Caucasians are making up 61.2% of the deaths.
61.2% of the deaths, but they're 60% of the population. American blacks are 14% of the population. If you add in the mixed people, 13% is without mixed lineage. When you add in the mixed lineage, one drop of black blood, you're black. That's 14%, 14 point something. We've talked about it on the show. They're 16%, right? But Caucasians are wiping out of here at 61%, and they're 60%. Right? But there's 61% of the deaths, but they're saying that disproportionately blacks are more susceptible to it. What you gonna believe? Your lying eyes, your lying eyes. Let's continue.
So if you look at it, it's not like a disproportionate thing. And even Hispanics, Hispanics make up 13.3% of the deaths. So this whole disproportionate attacking, people that are, brown skin or minorities is a farce. It's not real. It's just to give another fear antic so that minorities can run and get this vaccine. But
why are they so hell bent? Notice I use the word hell bent on American blacks taking the virus? Why are they so hell bent? My producer, my wife, just gave me this information. Why are they so hell bent on South Africans getting the vaccine? They found out that the vaccine they were using over there was not working on them, they say. So they are developing a vaccine especially for them. Especially for the South. Why are they so hell bent on this? TC Congress says it's getting deep out here. Money is a hell of a drug. Love it more than the lives of people. Nothing new under the sun. Why are they so hell bent? Smash the share button, smash the like button. We're bringing you this information now,
caution you against it. I highly caution you against it. Do things that that can help you live. Stay away from dairy because it's highly inflammatory. Drink water. Enjoy your life. Get some rest. Take the supplements that we know help and work, like the quercetin, the vitamin C, and especially vitamin D. Vitamin D is so outstanding that they even use it in studies where they gave high doses of people who are in ICU with coronavirus, and those people start turning around and recovering. So we know certain things that are safe works. Let's do that first. Stay away from the vaccine. It's dangerous, but if you choose to do so, at least now you are empowered with information to make an informed decision. God bless you all, and I pray for your health, and I pray for your safety. Take care. God bless.
All right. So that is our sister in information, Tamika Morrow, nurse practitioner, right? Disseminating information to you so that you will know. Now, you have to watch episode 110 of #TFR Podcast Live. It came out last year. It'll be almost a year, right? You have to watch that because that details why American blacks are so quick to believe what Caucasians say about situations. I noticed that they're on my stream, they're knocking down the straight stream because we have people constantly watching, but they're making it look like they're not. That's all right. That's all right. Messing with the numbers. I can see it right there. It's okay. It's not okay, but anyway. Anyway, people, smash the share button, smash the like button. We are getting ready to take it on a journey. First of all, we have to say that Hustler magazine founder Larry Flynt passes away at 78. We have to give him reference because he brought more nasty white, I'm going to say it, viewer discretion is right, more nasty white hillbilly pussy up for people to see because he was doing anti-Playboy, which was more artistic and wanted to get all up in between that nasty hillbilly pussy. So we just want to say, but the reason why I put him up there mainly is, did Larry Flynt, who's in a wheelchair and had infirmities, did he take the coronavirus? That is the big question. Did he take the coronavirus? Excuse me. Did he take the experimental agent? Did he take the experimental agent? If you are not able to take everyday conversation with everyday vernacular and talk, I don't know what's wrong with you. But anyway, let's move on. Now, this is what we see in Vegas, Cali, Vegas now. Let me bring it up closer so that you can see it, and I will read it to you. This is what we see now in businesses. As you see the palm trees in the back. Anyway, whatever. No, it's not. But anyway, look, just have to say. But anyway, no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service. This is what we're seeing in Vegas, Cali, Vegas right now on the signs in establishments, right? Brought by the Nevada Health, whatever they call it, center or association, whatever. No shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service. Soon, it will read, no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no papers, no service. You see? We have to start asking questions. We have to start asking questions now because it is becoming very detrimental to us and our freedoms. Our freedoms. Like, are we going to give up our freedoms? Are we going to... Buttigieg is actually the one that's behind this. Buttigieg, he's actually in that position that they confirmed him in that position. He is actually behind this. You have to start researching these people's last names. You have to figure out, do they have some fascist past? Right? You have to check it out. Fauci. When I look at Fauci, when I first saw him and I saw those beady eyes, I said, I'm not trusting him. But the NAACP is going to give him an award for what? The CDC just came out and said that we should be wearing double masks. We've been on that for a while, wearing the double mask, right? Just like I was on wearing the mask way before this started. 4 years before, I was wearing the mask out here in Las Vegas because of desert fever. But now we've been wearing the double mask, but here's Fauci, not to be outdone by the CDC. He comes out and says, we should be wearing 3 masks at once. Okay, and they're giving him an award. I give him the finger. I look at the beady eyes on him, and I say, I can't trust him. Ha ha, we got the information out. Y'all starting to try to clip, but we got the main information out there. Ha 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 ha. We got it out there again, so start the clip. Go ahead. Anywho, now let's go to the next slide. Next slide, which brings us to the main portion of the topic that we're talking about today, which is this. It's going to be a co-reality as co-reality dawns. COVID is likely here to stay. Government and businesses are starting to accept that the coronavirus isn't a temporary problem and instead will lead to long-term changes enabling society to coexist with COVID-19 as it does with flu, measles, HIV, and I will add the common cold, which is a coronavirus, the common cold. Now, it's interesting, especially after hearing from our sister in disseminating information, Tamika. Now, this is where the rubber hits the road, where I'm saying that they are talking about having people need papers. You need to have your papers, right? I remember when they put this over the news early on. Do you see this, people? Do you see this right here? How many of you have your blue passport? Your passport for just traveling? Like, do you have that? Do you have that? Let alone getting one to be able to travel because you've gotten the experimental virus, right? What does this remind you of? It's one thing to have a passport to go to different countries because there are borders and you're not a country unless you have borders, right? So that's one thing, but it's another thing to need a passport just to get on a plane, just to be able to go from one destination to the next, just to be able to get a service done. You will need one of these experimental virus passports that says that you took the shot. And what does the reporter say, right? Published February 4th. So this is fairly recent, right? Updated February 7th. So this is just a few days, right? Let's see what they say. Among governments and those in the travel industry, a new term has entered the vocabulary: vaccine passport. One of President Biden's executive orders. Let me read that again. One of President Biden's executive orders aimed at curbing the pandemic asks government agents to assess the feasibility of linking virus vaccine certificates with other vaccination documents and producing digital versions of them, which, when you read between the lines, is to create this passport. Denmark's government said on Wednesday that in the next 3 to 4 months it will roll out a digital passport that will allow citizens to show they have been vaccinated. Now, I thought that we were the home of the free, the home of the brave. I thought we were the home of the free, the home of the brave, and here we are listening to what Denmark is saying about having possibly a passport, a experimental virus passport. It isn't just governments that are suggesting vaccine passports. In a few weeks, Airways and Emirates will start using a digital travel pass developed by the International Air Transport Association to help passengers manage their travel plans and provide airlines and governments documentation that they have been vaccinated or tested for COVID-19. Right? So they are starting to make it so that you will not be able to move to and fro unless you have documentation. I see that Andrea Smith is watching. What's going on with you? Thanks for tuning in with us. So this passport, I wonder how much this is going to cost you. You're going to have to pay for the passport like you pay for the blue passport that's supposed to be your gateway to traveling into different countries and getting those stamps on your passport. Like, what's really good? And then, is it going to all of a sudden represent traveling from state to state, not just country to country? Like, what's going on with this? Like, why all these measures seem very Nazi-esque, very Nazi-esque, right? So let me say this before I bring my sister in, right? When you realize that during slavery, South Africa, the Europeans that were going over to South Africa to take over South Africa came over to America. So did the Germans. They came over to America to see how what the South Africans would call the apartheid system, and what the Nazis would call an apartheid system, but they called it segregation here. How it worked and how they could take it back to implement it where they were being the minority in South Africa in particular, in Germany, getting rid of a certain group of people. They went and implemented what they learned from American slavery over in those countries to bring the South Africans to heal. And it's weird that now that they would be saying that the South Africans seem to be immune to the virus, to the experimental agent, so they're going to make one especially for them. And then the Germans went over and they went way further. They started exterminating people and taking all their belongings, putting them in concentration camps, and they started exterminating people, right? Now, here's the kicker. The Israelis today come over. Now, remember they were brutalized. Their ancestors were their relatives, not ancestors. Their relatives were brutalized by the Nazi Germany regime under Adolf Hitler. They were brutalized. They turn around and come over here and they train police officers on techniques that they learned from what was done to them in Germany, and they are the ones that taught the United States police the knee hold on the neck. That is a Israeli police tactic that they do against the Palestinians. See how brutality can transcend and then wind back in the country from which it was learned and come back even more heightened. See how that works? It's a reciprocal, a 360-degree circle, right? It's a reciprocal that comes back. It's very evil, very demonic, very... And then you add in now that they have these restrictive laws that they're putting in place. Now remember, here's the kicker. The Dixiecrats were the ones that were pushing to keep black people enslaved and didn't want desegregation, didn't want civil rights, didn't want that. They learned that from the Dixiecrats. You put the Dixiecrats in office, and now they are coming down with these draconian, fascist ideas on how to go about locking people down from free movement by using papers. Where did the South Africans learn that from? They learned that from slavery with the slave papers. To go from one plantation to the next, you needed papers. What do they do to the Palestinians in Israel now, in Jerusalem? They have to have papers to go from one place to the next. What did the Jewish people have to have in Germany before the displacements and exterminations began? They had to have papers to be able to go from one place to another in what was their home before they were displaced and then exterminated. And you so easily believe what you hear from Caucasians. You have to start researching. Buttigieg, who is this guy? What does he believe? Where does his people come from? Is there some fascism? Fauci, is there some fascism? So, Joe Biden, is there some fascism? Well, we know there's some fascism there because 100 to 1, 3 strikes, you're out. Just got to put the pieces together, and you voted for him. What you got to say?
So, what is this all about? I know the title of my show is What's the Point, but I'm going to have to bring What's the Point right here too. What's the point of all this? What's the point of all this information? What's the point of sharing the video presentations? What's the point of all that? What is the point? What are y'all trying to say? What are y'all trying to say every day? What are you trying to say? I mean, come on. You have no unifying type of attitude. I mean, this is America. This is the great American melting pot. I mean, we're all in this together. We're all suffering. We're all losing loved ones. We're all, I mean, what, guys, what, you know. You're talking all this American black stuff. You know, what's going on? Well, you know what, guys? You know, just like the video presentation where the young lady or the nurse practitioner, much respect to her because she's been bringing heavy hitting information since the beginning. You know that only a few of us are listening to. But she's letting you know so that you know. You're not going to be able to say that you didn't know because the God that I assume a lot of you worship has made sure that you know. The knowledge is there, but you tend to want to receive your knowledge. You have a pick and choose of where you want to receive knowledge from, and you tend to receive from the wrong sources. So while Dee was talking, I was doing some research. And so I looked up, one of the things that I found interesting is that there's a whole lot of propaganda out there on how black people are the biggest, the hardest hit from the coronavirus. The hardest hit. So that is to tell you need to be looking towards this vaccine because your demographic, your race is more prone to receive this. So they're telling you, they're setting you up. They're setting up your mindset, right? So they've already set up, they've said older people, older black people. I'm going to tell you more so than older black people being in precondition. It's more of their fear, which has torment, which will bring that upon them faster than the conditions themselves, right? And actually, that is the same thing with anybody, whether older or younger. More so than your pre-existing condition, it is your fear, which the Bible says has torment, that torments you day and night. So what does that mean? If your fear has torment, that means you're going to keep, by the process of your tongue, which death and life is in the power of your tongue, by the process of your tongue and how you speak, you're going to reiterate what's been put out there to you. When you reiterate what's been put out there to you, because your tongue is multiplicative in its reproduction of what is and what is not, you create more of what you speak. And so if in your fear you say, oh man, I have heart disease, I got kidney disease, now you're reinforcing that. You're reinforcing. So you start, your count begins to change. Your body begins to change. Your counts begin to change. If you don't believe it, go try to set a test after you've spoken something. But y'all don't believe it, so. But I'm just telling you. So your counts are going to begin to change. Your blood counts are going to begin to change. Your blood work is going to change based on the things that you're speaking. And because more than likely you're speaking in a defeatist attitude, then your diet is going to be commensurate with that. It's going to line up. So now you're putting things in your body because now you're setting your body up not to care. You're setting your psyche up not to care. So everything is going into divine alignment from this fear who has brought you torment that has dictated what you speak out of your lips. And you are the creator of your own demise. Y'all don't believe me. But that's one thing. So that's whether you're an older person, and older persons are more predisposed to fear because they feel like they're on a fixed income, everything is fixed, they don't have a way to turn, everything is set. So what they have is what they have. They don't have anywhere else to turn, anywhere else to go. So they line their minds up with that. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Because what you think you're going to speak, and as you speak, you reinforce. It goes out into the atmosphere, and now you become. So they set you up by saying that we're more predisposed to, it's more of us dying of the coronavirus. Okay, out of 99% is healed of the coronavirus. And we're the ones that are dying the most, so are we only the 1%? So how do we account for the white people and other people that are dying of the coronavirus? I mean, you got to think about what's being put out here before you with these numbers and how they don't make sense. So then I noticed that there is a disproportionate amount of articles speaking to us being the main. It doesn't say we're mainly targeted, but it's alluding to it, that we are the target and the virus is more detrimental to us. So it's a disproportionate amount of articles to that as opposed to the ones that say we're not taking the vaccine. So now I've seen the articles that says that it is less African Americans that's taking the vaccine. So that's supposed to link with the fact that you're dying more because you're not taking the vaccine. All they got to do is put it before you and you repeat it. All they got to do is set it before you on the news and you repeat it, because all evil dark forces know that it's you that gives it life when you speak it. It's you that gives it life. So here we got these, it's called the Hegelian dialect. Y'all hear me say that over and over again. That was something that was first started in Nazi Germany, and it was a propaganda minister that worked for Hitler, and his job was to put out propaganda to scare the people so that the people will eventually line up to the plan they wanted to put in place that the people would not ordinarily agree to. So you would not ordinarily agree to taking a vaccine. But because you've been told that y'all are dying at an alarming rate and all of that, now, okay, you'll consider it because we're dying more, okay? Now, what is this all about? Back to the American black. And see, y'all can call it what you want to call it, but you have to, if someone doesn't speak up for our people without being paid to keep silent on certain things, then who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? Who's going to have the chutzpah enough to stand up for the people and not be a dirty dish rag and be for sale? Who's going to stand up and say, well, you know, I will sacrifice what I could have for keeping my mouth shut or coming over to the other side? Who's got the chutzpah? Who's got it? Okay, so I'm going to tell you what it's really about with you American blacks, that some of you were brought over on slave ships, some of you were here. Let me tell you what it's about. It is about your intellectual property. It is about your brawn. It's about your physical, mental, and spiritual strength. It is about your intestinal and testicular fortitude and your ability to be able to pass through the fire and through the floods and still come up. It's about your ability to be able to take something and make something out of nothing. It's about your ability to not be fragile, but your ability to be agile in the spirit. It's about all of that stuff that nobody else can lay a claim to but us. It is about your ability to organize and mobilize. It's about your existence of supernatural power that some of us are beginning to tap into. Some of us are beginning to tap into it. Some of us, it's not all in the Hollywood movies. You have shot your own selves in the behind, this whole system. Because what you have tried to do, you have tried to make everything supernatural be attached to evil. That's not true. And your biggest fear is that the ability to be a real-life superhero lies in these people. And you try to do everything to kill us. You tried to make us believe we were there. You tried it. And what you did was you overkilled it. You overkilled it so much that the mentality reversed. So now we're looking at, why would you want us to believe that about ourselves? Why would you want to be so desperate to hold us in a certain place? Why would you want to write things in the law that goes on for hundreds of years to keep us incapacitated? It's something you knew from the beginning that we didn't know. And now by way of your ridiculous ethics towards us, you have told us what it was and what it is. And now you are shaking in your shoes. Now you got some new mental illness called, you didn't put a name on it, white fragility. Oh, we're fragile. We're fragile and we're afraid. We're afraid. What you afraid of? Because anything wicked that we learned, we were taught it from you. So what are you afraid of? But your own retribution coming back at you. What is this all about? It's what it's been about. And you can say, I don't care. You can label this what you want to label it. You can call it racist rhetoric. You can call, listen, when truth is true, you're going to have to develop the ability for truth. Ain't going to be no booty powder in time now. There ain't going to be no powdering of your behind. Ain't going to be no Vaseline. This has been a culmination of hundreds of years worth of desperate plans to annihilate a people. Even if you don't annihilate us physically, you want to annihilate us mentally. So this disease, see, the trick is in the experimental agent. The trick is in the vaccine. That's the reason why there's such a push where you're experimenting and flipping and issuing the vaccine without animal testing, and you're grasping at straws is now too late. Because as much as I have a voice and have a chance, I'm going to be speaking against it. And guess what? I've been diagnosed with all kinds of stuff. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. You do not have to die from COVID if you've been diagnosed with heart failure, if you've been diagnosed with kidney disease, if you've been diagnosed with diabetes. That is not a death sentence. It's what you say. I say, I shall live and not die and declare the glorious work of God as an ambassador for the kingdom. When I take my last breath, I will give up the ghost like Jesus Christ, where I will have finished my course. I will not leave here a day before or a day after what was designed when I got here in the mind of God. No sickness, no disease, no man, woman, child, or animal can take my life. When I leave here, I will lay it down at will when my course is finished. And my last word that I was brought here to speak was spoken. And you had better. You listen, audience. You had better find yourself. You better find who you are. And you better stake a claim to who you are as gods in this earth. Nobody can beat that. Nobody can whip that. No sickness, disease, or nothing. It's what you say. If you don't find yourself, you're going to be a casualty out here. And that's what they're counting on. You stay free. Wake up. I ain't talking about this cute little stuff. Y'all waking up. Y'all going back to Africa for 30 years ago. Like Diddy talks about all the time. Y'all been going back to Africa for 40 years. You still here. You got a little bit of knowledge, just enough knowledge to be dangerous, but not enough to move you forward. Listen, if you know a whole bunch of stuff, and it's fine, we were taught in school for 12 years and then post-secondary education, we know a whole lot of stuff that never serves us in life. It doesn't mean a whole lot that you know a whole bunch of stuff that you can't mobilize and do anything about forwardly progressing your life. It don't mean nothing. It's just a source of pride. The Bible says knowledge puffeth up. So you walking around with a big head full of knowledge that ain't doing nothing for you. That is not being conscious. That's being a garbage dump.
Wow.
This is what it's about. It's about killing you. or incapacitating you, or you dead man walking. The walking dead, a zombie. Now they want to inject you with something that makes you comatose. So you walking around. Yes, yes. I understand. I've heard you. Yes, yes. And if you don't, if they can't get you to do that, they're going to have AI take over for you. So this is what it's about. Tired of playing games. Tired of playing games with y'all. All this Kumbaya. Listen, do I hate white people? No, else I would hate part of myself. I am part. So no, it's not a hate. It's a listen, we got to learn how to accept, be able to discuss the hard conversations and discuss truth. I've always been open about racial discussions with white people. I say I've always opened it up. Always opened up the floor. Because what are you scared to talk about? What are you uncomfortable with? Unless you are in agreement with me. I mean, and Fauci, here's the last thing I'm going to say. I want to share Fauci. You know, what's in a name? Names mean something. Fauci is an Italian surname. It is derived from the Sicilian word for sickle and originated as an occupational surname. It originated as an occupational surname. It originated as an occupational surname referring metonymically to makers of sickle. Now, what does metonymically mean? Little vocabulary. Metonymically means a figure of speech consisting of the use of the name of one thing for that of another, of which it is an attribute. Oh boy! So that name is attached to an occupation. Now, what's a sickle? What's a sickle? Sickle, sickle is to mow or reap with a sickle. That's one. Oh, but look at this one. The second meaning of the word sickle is to change a red blood cell into a sickle cell. And the reason why it's called sickle cell is because it takes the shape of a sickle. But it's a transitive verb, which means there's some agent that changes the red blood cell into the sickle cell. It is a disease. So his name, by definition and occupation, is the maker of a disease. And you listening to him. You listening to him. You listening to him. If you go back to the history of that particular disease, it was started as an experiment. He was there at the beginning. He was part of the beginning of the development of the disease. Starting around 1993, they've been formulating, and then something got loose and out of control. Don't buy it. It only got loose and out of control when it was going to be effective. Y'all gotta pay attention and start doing your research and quit sitting around being bumps on a log. All it took was a simple thought process towards researching a last name.
Wow.
I'm done for now.
Wow. Kathy Steverson, she's watching. What's going on with her? She says, I shall live and not die. 100% bullseye. truth teller, okay sign. Yeah. The okay sign emoji. All right. Woo, just researching names. And the NAACP, you gotta look at that name. The National Organization for the Advancement of Colored People. Okay.
Why did he even have to start out with saying colored instead of black from the beginning?
Because
and it was started from causes.
Black people saw the word black as an offense before the black power movement came in the 1960s. To be called black was an insult. It was almost worse as being called somebody black calling you black was almost as insulting as a white person calling you a nigger, right? So that's what that is. That's why. So here we go. Another meme right here. A lot of y'all's parents told y'all participation trophies were great, and it shows. One more time. A lot of y'all's parents told y'all participation trophies were great, and it shows. You know, when this is all said and done, for those who survive this, they're going to have that mean face. They're going to have that mountain lion face. They're going to be looking, like we discussed this before, that some black people look at other black people automatically with that. Those who believe in the politic of personal responsibility look at other blacks like that. But soon, blacks going to be looking at themselves who voted for this. They're going to be looking in the mirror at themselves like this. And the people who knew better are going to be looking at the blacks like this, like, I can't believe it. A lot of y'all's parents told y'all participation trophies was great, and it shows. Y'all can't think y'all way out of a paper bag, and that's not good. Y'all couldn't think yourselves out of a maze. I mean, like, oh man, y'all couldn't. Some of y'all can't even work on puzzles. Like, I mean, like, really. And all of y'all went through, and here we go. This is especially for you. It says, Mr. Magoo is here for you. Yeah, I mean, let's just be totally. Let's make 100. Mr. Magoo is here for you. He looks like Mr. Magoo. Look at that. Only thing that's missing is he's got those hair plugs in. So the hair. See, they're like, why are you being so petty? He needed those hair plugs to still. No, he could have been bald headed and won the presidency. Look at the dude that was the governor of Florida. He was totally bald. He's got high self-esteem. He doesn't need hair plugs. He's a disaster,
but look,
he
it's the same difference.
It's the same difference. Look at him sitting up there feeble. You see him walking. They
Because
say
Mr. Magoo don't have no holes in his ears. He can't hear.
Oh, you saying he's Helen Keller because Mr. Magoo was blind, but his other senses were there. That's how he survived. Or was it his little dog? I forget which one would save him from it. Okay, he had a little dog, I think. Is his little dog Kamala? Because
Oh my God.
no, it can't be Kamala because Kamala don't know the difference between what? She don't know the difference between what?
A landmine and a coal mine.
A landmine and a coal mine. Let's keep moving here. We all have dreams. In order to make dreams come into reality, it takes an awful lot of determination, dedication, self-discipline, and effort coming from Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens was whipping up them whites over there, Hitler. Jesse Owens says that, unlike the propaganda films, that Hitler saluted him when he won, but the way that they cut the propaganda film, they made it seem like Hitler got up as he was winning and walked out. But Jesse Owens says that's not how it was at all. So, that's just that American propaganda. Okay, anyway. We were projecting onto Hitler what they would have done if had beat some of their white boys. Let's keep moving. Okay, a little Black History Month. Black history information. History is interesting. The deeper one digs, the more likely one can find many possibly true stories and explanations for the truth. I guess that's what they're saying, but I don't know what they mean by that part. Possibly. It's not possibly, it's what it is, especially this one. So let's read what this says. This comes from face-to-faceafrica.com. Face-to-faceafrica.com. No doubt an African group of people here who think that they should be going back to Africa, not the Africans over there talking about something that's happening up here. I just need to know when you're going back. But anyway, you probably didn't know that California is named after a black queen. You probably didn't know that California is named after a black queen. That is true indeed. That has been known for so long. This next one, we need a name. We're going to need a name researched on this one, this next one time. BlackThen.com this comes from. BlackThen.com. Did you know that a black man invented the fire escape ladder? Did you know that a black man invented the fire escape ladder? Did you know that? Hey, Tracy, when you're looking at this picture, because I know that you're watching as the producer, when you look at the picture, he kind of looks like Pharaoh said that. He kind of looks like Pharaoh said that, just But anyway, did you know that a black man invented the fire escape ladder? Those are the ladders that are on the side of high rises, the old high rises where the people would climb down, they would drop the fire escape ladder down and then climb down. Black man created that. We keep on telling you the greatest of inventions, the greatest of useful inventions. Because why? Because American blacks were doing all of the work. So they were looking for practical inventions that could make life easier for what they had to do. They weren't trying to shuck on the work, but they were coming up with inventions to make life easier. Do you have that name?
Yes.
Go ahead.
It is Joseph Richard, and then in quotations, Nigerian Winters. Joseph Richard Nigerian Winters was an African-American abolitionist and inventor who on May 7, 1878 received U.S. patent number 203-517 for a wagon-mounted fire escape ladder. On April 8, 1879, he received the U.S. patent number 224 for an improvement on it. And on May 16, 1882, he received U.S. patent number 258-186 for a fire escape ladder that could be affixed to buildings. It is often erroneously cited that Winters was the original inventor of the wagon-mounted fire escape. Okay, the fire escape. Winters' version was patented 29 years after George Huffman and George Cornelio initially introduced the idea in 1849. However, Winters' ladder replaced the wooden ladder with a metal frame and parallel steps Winter's innovation was utilized by the Chambersburg, Pennsylvania Fire Department, who mounted the ladder on a horse-drawn wagon.
You see, people, you see, information, dissemination of information, it's very, very, very important, right? So the last meme of the day. The last meme of the day, right, has to do with something about inventors, right? And this is well, let me just bring it up. If they go through with this would be one of the largest ever situations where American blacks are represented at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Here they are, 2021 Rock Hall nominations. Now, the majority of the people on this page right here are American black, except for, or black. Let me say that. Mary J. Blige, Kate Bush, Devo, Whip It Good, Shake It Up, Into Shade, Don't Delay, da-na-na-na-na, Crack That Whip, da-na-na-na-na, Give Yourself a Smack, da-na-na-na-na. I had to stop right there. Remember those Devo glasses, people, from the 80s? Foo Fighters. The Go-Go's. Vacation, everybody want me. Vacation, happy to get away. Iron Maiden, Jay-Z. Shaka Khan. Dan. Wait. Carole King, Fela Kanta. LL Cool J. LL Cool J is hard as hell. Battle anybody, I don't care, you tell. I excel, they all fail. Tina got a big old butt. I know I told you I'd be true, but Tina got a big old butt. So I'm leaving you. Oh, do that. Yeah. New York Dolls, Rage Against the Machine. What's the Rage Against the Machine song? The same people who worship in churches are the same people that burn crosses. The same people that worship in churches are the same people that burn crosses. The same people who worship in churches are the same that burn crosses. And then they go on to say, no, I won't conform. Todd Rundgren, Tina Turner. Flatbush. No, Nutbush. Remember Tina? And Dionne Warwick. Every time I wake up, she puts on her makeup. She says a little prayer for me. Forever and ever, I'm saying my heart again. I will love you forever and ever. I am my heart again. I will love you. You will always be there for me. I wonder if Burt Bacharach is going to be there. You know, there was a rumor back in the day why she broke away from Burt Bacharach that there was something going on between her and Burt. Just some information. Just some dissemination. We don't know if that's old news now, but Burt Bacharach's wife was not having it. So those are the nominations, and if this is true to form, because these are just the nominations, then they narrow it down to the number of people that they're going to have. If this is so, this is amazing. The only person that they don't have in there, well, I won't say that. I'll leave that out. Yes, people. So we had to end on something a little lighter. Did you notice what didn't happen? Did you know what didn't happen? Let's see. Tracy Latrice said, "Yep, rock the bells, Jigga, great list." Right. You know what didn't happen, people? Did you see what did not happen? Did you see that they did not clip? They did not clip us. So why you can't get round it? So low you can't get under it. So high you can't get over it. So why you can't get round it? Shiny eye, shimp, shimp. Here's our chance to dance our way out of our constrictions. We're tired of these suckers. One more time. Here's our chance to dance our way. It's in the music. Out of our constrictions. Moving and grooving through Hang Up Alleyway. We should all be I'm fumbling those words, but we should all be moved. Feet don't fail me now. Ha ha! Funkin' more for what you're funkin' for. You want to be free. And all this stuff that they're doing now is trying to keep us in more bondage, right? In more bondage. And we still haven't got what we truly desire to have, which are the set-asides that Martin Luther King got his throat shot off for, that the Panthers mention in the Panthers 10-point plan, October 1966. If you read this, when we read this, right, and you say, dang, we still talking about it today, you can thank your grandparents, you can thank your mother and father, you can thank your cousins, your older siblings, your aunts, your uncles, all of them, because they decided to conform instead of being about having a party platform and program that was about American blacks. They did the same thing they've been doing to vote for Lucifer to get Satan out of office. Still the same demon. So let's see. What do the Panthers give us back in 1966? We want freedom. I would say we want free. We want power to determine the destiny of our black community. 2, we want full employment for our people, meaning that we don't want you, like Martin Luther King told us, bringing in other people to take the jobs away from us because we were the ones who built this country. 3, we want an end to the robbery by the white man of our black community. 4, we want decent housing fit for shelter of human beings. We don't want slumlords. We don't deserve that. 5, we want education for our people that exposes the true nature of the decadent American society. We want education that teaches us our true history and our role in the present day society. the information that we disseminate to you every day on hashtag Observations TFR Podcast Live, Monday through Friday, and hashtag, no, excuse me, Observations TFR, and hashtag TFR Podcast Live on Sundays, right? We disseminate this information. We want all black men to be exempt from military service. What was going on why they wanted all black men exempt from military service? 73% of the people over in Vietnam, 73% of the Americans over in Vietnam, thanks to the draft, were American black. Coming back in body bags, coming back mentally rearranged, coming back drugged out, coming back having to fight the Civil War in the American barracks after coming back supposedly policing the Viet Cong to keep Vietnam free. 7. We want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of black people. You could just take this and just repackage it and say, today's party, today's black party. We want free for all black men held in federal, state, county, and city prisons and jails. We want all black people, when brought to trial, to be tried in court by a jury of their peer group or people from their black communities as defined by the Constitution of the United States. Wow. I mean, it's amazing. It's the same hamster wheel. Why? Because people chose to conform and say, just wait. Everybody should get it. If you believe in everyone getting the same thing at the same time, and black people at the bottom of the totem pole, that still makes them above you financially, economically, socio-economically, because they already have more economics than you, because it was stripped from you when they brought in all the other immigrants. So that would not work. Oh, I saw a little clip right there. Oh, wow. 10. We want land, bread, that's money, yo, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. And as our major political objective, a United Nations supervised plebiscite. I need to know what the definition of plebiscite is for the people. Plebiscite. Plebiscite, to be held throughout the black colony, in which only black colonial subjects will be allowed to participate for the purpose of determining the will of black people as to their national destiny. Plebiscite. As some kind of dignitary, I believe. But I just didn't want to know the definition of it. P-L-E.
What is it?
Plebiscite, which is P-L-E-B-I-S-C-I-T-E. Plebiscite. Or plebiscite. Either or. What is a plebiscite? So people will have the definition. We don't pass by words.
Okay, it is a referendum. You ready?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay. A plebiscite is, or referendum is a type of voting or a proposed law. Some definitions of plebiscite suggest that it is a type of vote to change the constitution or government of a country. Advisory, meaning the result of the vote is only to help the government make the final choice.
So they wanted only the black colonists to be able to vote on it to decide what type of government that American black people would have, being that we are a nation within a nation spending $1.2 trillion, which makes us actually the size of Mexico, the size of Russia, the size of, what were the other two countries? Australia, and the size of another country as far as their gross national product, their GDP. There's gross domestic product and gross national product. Their GDP and GNP. 1.2 trillion.
Well, you know, a lot of the things that was on the Black Panthers 10-point plan, a lot of that was restated in the 10-point plan that came from the black pastors to Donald Trump when he came in. Because I was looking as you were reading that, a lot of that was restated in their 10-point plan.
Which means that those pastors, some of them have a history in revolutionary thought, while the rest of the Negroes who voted like they voted for Biden really didn't have any revolutionary thought at all, and they thought voting for Lucifer to get Satan out. They really didn't have any revolutionary thought, and they were the ones who didn't have revolutionary thought, calling those pastors coons and sellouts. How about that? Who are the coons and who really are the sellouts? All right, people. This has been another robust episode of #Observations TFR. It's Truth Thursdays. It could be here to stay. Are you ready for it to stay? Are you going to be sheeple? Are you not going to demand your right to be free to move around freely? Or are you going to openly and willingly take the papers? Are you really going to take the mark of the beast? Y'all niggas ain't thinking. Y'all niggas ain't thinking.
I just got an email saying the FBI is interested in me for employment.
Uh-oh. Judas and the Black Messiah. Uh-oh. They say, hey, let's bring them in. They might get the spook who sat outside the door instead. Huh? But anyway, people, this has been a robust episode of #Observations TFR, episode 95. Tomorrow is freaking Fridays, where we talk about stories that you may not have seen in the media. You know, we showed you about the black woman being spat on as a home health aide. But there has been an update, and you won't believe what you are seeing in this update. That is tomorrow. You have to tune in to #Observations TFR. We come on Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, on the various platforms that you see us on. Make sure that you like, share, follow, friend where you see us. Make sure you do that, right? Make sure that you connect 5 friends to this, because we disseminated a lot of information today, and I caught I've mastered the algorithm unless they change it. No clip for me or you. So you can get the information. Look, Sunday is hashtag TFR Podcast Live. We have part 2 going from 1969 up to today of films where it's in the music, and documentaries that deal with the American black music and how music has pushed and made this culture what it is, because American culture is actually American black culture. That's right. Have you been watching, just a side note here as we wrap up, have you been watching the Donald Trump impeachment 2, part 2? You know, every great movie has to have its sequel, right? So part 2. But they were playing video of the insurgents that came and sieged on the Capitol on January 6th. And the way that the people were talking, what they were saying, the one guy says, we have to do this, etc., 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 etc. And then he says, peace out. It's unbelievable. Just go on to YouTube and listen when there's the black representative from the Virgin Islands, and she's laying out the case, and she plays the various video that we haven't seen, right? And then the guy is talking about why he's got to do it. Then he says, peace out. American black people haven't said peace out in about 20 years, but that is American black culture. Caucasians have no culture but American black culture. Another thing, they were outside talking about, send Pence out. Send Pence out. We want Pence. Send Pence out. We want Pence. Send Pence out. But it was the way they were chanting it, and then they ended it with a certain other type of chant that is American black culture chanting from hip-hop records. They're supposed to be about sieging on the Capitol, about their concerns, but the way that they are chanting, the way that they are speaking American black vernacular. If you watch the old film noir movies, the classic film noir movies, nothing is ever old because it's always brand new, and the lessons learned then help you now. If you listen to it, when they're talking that, I want to call it jive, because that's what they called it. They called what they talked jive, but then in the 70s they turned it around on us and said that what we were talking was jive. But they were talking in the 1930s, 40s, they were talking jive, saying that's how they were talking, but they had got that, they took what they could understand from American blacks who had a smooth rhythm to the way that they delivered their everyday lingo. They took it and put it in movies and got slick talking in the movies to make themselves hip. Hip is American black culture. Caucasians have no culture of their own. Because if they were talking in a culture of their own, they'd be like, well, hi, Lee Jean. Yes, we scaled the wall because we thought that, no, they said, no, we had to do this because we had to do this, and peace out. That's American black culture. They're emulating, in their way, American black culture. Just like they took my bag and changed it to my bad. But it's still my bag. My bag meant was you were holding a bag because you made a mistake. But my bad, some black people, to be with them, took my bad and stopped saying my bag. Anyway, just a little side note, just a little side information. Before we go, did you have anything else that you want to say? Because it looks like you did some typing and some research here. Got something?
Yeah, I was just looking up. They're right now on C-SPAN. They're showing part 3 of the impeachment thing, and then I've seen the highlights of part 2. So I'm gonna go back. I haven't been watching it because I think it's a ridiculous waste of time. Just because you want to put that on that man's record, so he doesn't have. In order for you to block him running again, that means you're fearful that he may win. So the key to the reason why they're doing this impeachment is because if he's impeached, formally impeached, then he can't run again, right? So
I don't know if it's constitutional what they're doing, but that's all to be determined, especially if he starts a new party. But my main thing is I am a taxpayer, and you are wasting my taxpayer money, but you can't drop out $2,000 per American, but you can waste that taxpayer's money on this. You can waste American taxpayers' money on going back into the climate accords. You can waste American taxpayers' money paying Iran not to have a nuclear bomb, but you can't somehow pay Americans back their money for being steadfast taxpayers. That's my thing.
Well, see, here's the thing, and that you see how you question that and how you raise questions. That's a valid question. See, the key to getting you injected with all these different experimental agents is so that your mental capacity to raise questions and put up a think, because they don't mind you so much raising the questions. They raise the question. They mind you if you raise questions and you have influence. And on social networking platforms and broadcast platforms such as this, there's an influence. So they want to minimize you having any kind of questions you can ask that can stir up the people to ask the questions, and then have the nerve to organize and move on you. That's what they're trying to stop.
That's right. So you can be greatly diminished like those who voted for Biden. But I will say again. I will say again. I mean, hey, you just have to call it like it is.
I see that wolf, that mountain lion looking at you now.
I mean, this is what's gonna happen. This is what's gonna happen when they finally find out, when they finally discover. They voted for Mr. Magoo for you. And they're gonna be like, I shot my own people in the foot over this one. They're gonna be like, I shot my own people. They're gonna be like this. They're like, gonna be just angry at themselves. You know what I mean? So people,
be angry at you, angry at themselves. They're gonna go, I hate you. That's what that looks like. I hate you.
Well, that's what that is. That's what that is. That's how the blacks look at some other blacks who don't fall into the politics of personal responsibility. And the ones who fall into personal responsibility, well, they voted for Biden, and their offspring they're going to be failures as parents, grandparents, and great-great-grandparents as they watch their generations fall off. All right, people, so this has been another great episode, jam-packed, Observations, TFR, episode 95. Tomorrow, episode 96. Freaking Fridays. Make sure that you tune in. We are proud to bring you this quality content and programming, and we appreciate you tuning in Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, to watch myself and my special guest host, my sister Tanya M. Congress, and we will see you tomorrow on another jam-packed great show episode of #Observations TFR.
Here's the thing about Germany, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe. Community, heart, crazy.
Observations TFR, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.